As Bill O'Reilly would say, we're going to do it live. Um, I'll be honest with you guys. I do not feel very comfortable on this slate. We're going to break down the Fanduel Main Slate. It's just a week where it feels like every game there's just something off with it. Don't love game stacks this week necessarily. I think a lot of people are probably going to like this Kansas-Texas Tech game. I do like it from the Texas Tech side. I just think Texas Tech, I believe Texas Tech's defense a little bit more than I probably should. TCU, Kansas State, good game stack for the most part. Iowa State, Colorado, it's got its warts. Like everything has warts this week, it feels like. I almost feel like USC, Michigan might end up being one of the highest scoring games of the day, maybe Alabama, Missouri. But let's look through this thing. Starting out with quarterback, core plays this week. I don't know how I get away from Trinidad Shambles. I heard some rumors maybe that Austin Simmons might play some. I don't know why you risk it here. You know, if Shambles plays even just a half, you could see 62-2 with 250-2. But Lane is not known for taking his guys out. I think 30 points is well within play here and even more. There is a man, if you gave me odds, he would be by far and away the odds-on favorite to lead the slate in points. I just think that you're going to pair him with basically everybody and just kind of that's your starting point is Shambliss and then play from there. That makes the most sense. He might be the player I'm most confident in on either main slate combined. I just don't know how I get away from him to an extent. Am I going to lock him in? No. It's quarterback. Quarterback gets weird. But his rushing floor with his passing ceiling is off the charts, even in a blowout situation. We know Lane likes to run it up. So I would expect there's minimum 6 touchdowns are scored with him on the field with that offense. And if that's the case, you would think he's involved in at minimum 3 of them and hopefully 4 at worst, with the potential to be involved in 5 or 6. So I think Shambliss is by far and away the top play on the slate at the quarterback position. I think I think minimum 50% of your teams need to have Shambliss if I was to bug the numbers out. All right, next core play for me. I want all runners on FanDuel. I need legs. That is a key because you don't get the bonus for the 300 yards passing. It's all based around rushing. So I want rushing. I'm going to take Avery Johnson as my second core play at 9,800. I think the price is very good. He's a good value here. He's not priced up where he could be. He's really started to come on strong with his legs over the last 2 weeks. So I like that. He's going to have to throw the ball a good bit in this one against TCU, given that TCU should be able to score plenty of points on Kansas State. And you've got to remember that Dylan Edwards is now out. I don't trust Joe Jackson nor any other running back in the backfield. That's going to put more stress on Avery Johnson to be a playmaker back there. They are at home, which I like. That gives him a little bit more safety net, we'll say. So I think we're going to see something very good out of Avery Johnson this week. He's definitely a core play for me. Last core play, and I get a cheap guy. Now, you would think I would go Rocco Becht, but my first original true love is Bayron Morton. And I think you play Bayron Morton in this spot against Kansas. He's playing extremely well. The touchdowns didn't fall his way last week. You're not going to get a ton of rushing upside out of him. But he does have the capability to give you 303 on a regular basis. 8,800, very nice low price tag for him. I like the volume he'll get. So I think he's a core play simply for the fact that he's cheap enough to pay off this salary very easily. And there's a lot of very good high priced options. And he has a very, very cheap stack partner to go with it. Top GPP option of the week. If he can throw the football relatively decently, then I think you can see Caden Salter be a solid option here. He run the football well, scored a rushing touchdown in each game. So I think you could see Salter be a very viable option on the ground. It's just a matter of how well does he throw the football. If he throws it any amount decently, then he should be a very good option, we'll say. So I think you see him somewhere in the 200 yard range. They've struggled on the back end on this team. So I want to see what Iowa State's got some struggles on the back end with the corners being out for the season. So the question becomes is, okay, if those Iowa State guys are out again, yeah, of course they are. Well, you got Jeremiah Cooper's out for the season. Then their defensive line has struggled a little bit. All right, now how efficient can Salter be on the pass game? Because the run game, we're going to be able to get decent numbers. I think a 20-point floor is in there. So he's definitely a good option relative to it. Going further up the board, the rest of the guys in the pool. Trying to make sure that stuff's playing well. Rest of the guys in the pool for me, I think you could game stack in Simpson and Hoover. No issues there. Certainly, they're in play there. But these guys up at the top are more game stack options. I do love Maeva. Maeva, always a quality option, we'll say. 1 second. Making sure here. Checking this thing out. Let's see. So, yeah. So, I would say, yeah, we're good. All right. Maeva, good play on the board for sure. This is going to be a game where I would say you're going to see Michigan be able to score plenty of points. Michigan defense not quite the same as it usually is, has been in the past. And USC, this game has sneaky shootout potential, I would say. I have minimal interest in this as a game stack. And Maeva going to be a good option. He's got wheels. He can run a little bit. Gives you some rushing upside, certainly. Saw it in that Michigan State game. Got good weapons to stack with. The run game is solid for the Trojans, so that does give somewhat of a nervousness there. Could they run the football? Yes. Could you have some touchdown luck go against you? Yes. But I would say that Maeva is a very quality option, specifically at home in this spot. They tend to do well at home. Keeping the trend with those mobile guys, Tommy Castellanos, I think you keep him in the pool. He's got one very good stack partner. The rushing upside is there. He's more of a floor play. I don't know that the ceiling will necessarily get there. So I would tend to lean towards having a little bit of him, but I'm not super intrigued by going to Castellanos. He just kind of in the pool, we'll say. Similarly, I think the last two guys in my pool for me are going to be Dante Moore at 10-6, taking on Illinois. I think there is a non-zero chance that Oregon just flat out blows Indiana out of the water. I also think there's a chance that this game shoots out. So I think Dante Moore, in that sense, has capability. He has enough rushing upside. He's super efficient, good stack partner. So I think you keep Moore in there. And then obviously I'm always going to keep Rocco in my pool because he has the rushing touchdown equity that he's been getting. Now, does it fall his way again this week? I don't know. They're going to have to place more on his back, given that I think Carson Hansen ends up being out. I'm kind of building towards that, knowing that I think he's out. I don't trust the Colorado defense. So I think game stacks in this one are fine. I love Chase Soul with him. So I think that's the way we can play that game. Moving on to the running back position. Core play number 1, and there's not very many on this slate. I'm taking Justice Haynes as the top option at running back, and it's not close for me given the pricing. I just think you're gonna. The value is very difficult to come by in this slate, as far as like points per dollar wise, having a very good cheap guy. I think Haynes has the best floor and the best ceiling combination. USC is going to struggle on defense per usual. I don't know, like similar to Trinidad Chambliss. If I'm starting a team, it's going to start with him and him. Like that's if you're building, that's literally you're going to start with those two. I don't see how you don't. It's going to be very difficult. Like, I usually like to use percentages. I think you're looking at more than 50, maybe 60%. You need to start your teams with these guys. They're just very clear top options at each position. The only other guy that I'm going to highlight as a core play right now is going to be Mr. 7,700, Bo Jackson. So I think he's taking over this backfield. You give me 15 carries against Illinois with this high team total. He just needs to get me a touchdown and 80 yards, 100 yards, and I'm going to feel pretty good. I'll take my 15 points, 2x, no problems there, and I'm good. Bo Jackson is super good, obviously a great player. He'll be very good going forward. I'll be interested to see what he does in the long run. He's going to split some work, but I would expect he leads the backfield in touches with that high team total. It's kind of hard to let him go. So 2 injury situations I want to monitor. We already talked about the Abu Sama thing. If Carson Hansen's out, I would make Sama a core play. 6,500 would be far too cheap for the situation. He didn't even score last week, and he got almost 12 points. He gets 18 carries, 20 touches overall in that game. Matchup's about the same. I think you could see 100 yards and multiple touchdowns if it falls his way. Sama, everybody was kind of in on him after that Farmageddon game. We got out last year because he just ended up being terrible. And then coming into this year, everybody was kind of out. He's looked decent this year. So I think you can get back in on Sama if he ends up being the starter and Carson Hansen's out. I'll be in. I got no problems going here at 6,500. And that will open a lot of things up for me if we get word Carson Hansen's out. Carson Hansen obviously having a concussion right now. So that's I really think that there's a potential for that to go sideways, certainly. All right. Dylan Edwards is out. Des Reed, we don't know about. So I want to keep an eye on this Le'Veon Moss. So it's saying that he's going to play. There was some question about this. I was interested. I think that that's something still to monitor in case something goes haywire. Because if something did go haywire, I would have plenty of interest in Reuben Owens at 63. I think you could still go here, but I think Moss ends up getting the bulk of the work. I'd much rather play Sama with Hansen gone. And I don't think you need to value hound too hard. Like if you had to punt, I think you could take a GPP shot on De'Aaron Hill. He's starting to get more work. He seems to be the one emerging in this backfield. I'd rather be a week early than a week late there. And then the rest, let's see, top GPP play for me outside of that. But the number one GPP play, specifically for a Fanduel, definitely, is Ahmad Hardy. His workload is just absurd. So if I'm playing a Bama stack, I'm going to bring it back with Ahmad Hardy. No doubt about it, because Hardy's going to get an absolute crap ton of work. If he was playing anybody other than Alabama, he'd be a core play. I think Alabama's got good enough of a team that without the pass catching role, if Alabama steamrolls Missouri or gets out to an early lead, I'd be a little bit nervous about how Ahmad Hardy does in the long run there without the pass catching volume. All right, rest of the pool. Jeremiah Love has to be in the pool. It's just so hard to stomach paying $13K. I'd rather play Justice Haynes for $2,200 less. The floor and the ceiling are about the same. So that's where I'm in, but I'm not in, if that makes sense. Kejuan Lacey needs to be in the pool. He's going to need to be the one who has the touchdown luck, but the floor is really good. Like I said, if they score 6 touchdowns, it's probably 4 through Chambliss and then 2 otherwise. Does Lacey get 2? So that's kind of the $1 million question. I think you can play Lacey with Chambliss, and you can play Lacey without Chambliss. If I wasn't playing Chambliss, I'd like to have Lacey to some extent, because that probably means that Lacey scored 3 touchdowns in that one. So I think Lacey is a very viable option. I'm tempted to say he's a better option than Jeremiah Love even. So I'm right there with it. All right. Also in the pool for was going to be Wayman Jordan. So what I'll tell you guys is he is playing very well, getting most of the work in this backfield. Eli Sanders kind of spelling him. I think Michigan's very decent defense, just not nearly what it used to be. Jordan is a good enough player that he can take advantage of it, specifically playing at home. I do like that USC game a good bit. What I will say is I'm laying these pools out. I just want to clarify something. So I'll lay these pools out for you guys. That's not necessarily to say that you should only play the guys in this pool. These are just the best options on the board for me. Like if I was making a couple lineups, then yes, that's what I would do. If I'm making 50 lineups, then yeah, I'm gonna spray and pray. Like I'm gonna spray a bunch of other stuff, like I'll get to some Jacoby Williams. I'll get to so any of these guys at the top, you can get some of if you're there. I just have preferences. So I'd prefer to get you guys into a better situation, because I'm imagining you're probably only going to play 5 or 10 teams at the most. Then I would keep them very concentrated. But if I was playing 50, then yeah, I'm going to mix in a hair of Cameron Dickey here and there or whatever, so I'll mix and match. But for the most part, I mean, even me, I'm going to play 90% of my teams are going to have these guys. All right, looking at the rest of my pool here, I got 2 more backs in it. Jaden Ball is too talented for me to keep out. He got a ton of work last week, 30 touches with no Jacoby Jackson playing. I would expect against A&M, if he can get this against Texas, I think against A&M he could do something similar. I have no issues going to Jaden Ball at 8,500. I really do like him. Yeah, I'm gonna get some of that, no doubt about it. Him, Ahmad Hardy, I really do like in this range. I want to take a few shots on Sawchuk. I don't love the role. I know he's explosive enough. I think he's going to have to find the end zone multiple times to pay it out in a big way. So it's kind of his ceiling is capped. His floor is really good. So for the most part, I'm going to prefer to go to Bo Jackson, go down to Bo Jackson, or go up to Ball or Hardy. But I might end up mixing a little bit of Sawchuk in here and there. All right. Wide receiver wise, let's go over here. So core plays. Is it ever a core game with me? Don't say Jeremiah Smith. I feel like the floor's just too high. The ceiling's too high. You can't not say Jeremiah Smith. He's going to score a touchdown. He's going to have 7 to 10 catches. They should beat up this Illinois secondary pretty bad. You'd be hard-pressed not to want to play him. He needs to be a core play. He's just too good. He's just too good. You gotta say he's core play. There's nothing else that you could say about it. So, core play number 2, I'm going to put Ryan Williams in this category. He's playing well. Do I think he's a better play than Jeremy Bernard? No, I think they're pretty equal plays. I think the ceiling goes to Williams, the floor goes to Bernard. DK, I'm going to play Bernard all day long. He's 2,000 cheaper. It makes no sense. Here, I get a discount on Williams. I think Williams is more suited to be a play on FanDuel because he's more of the big play guy. So I'll play Williams plenty here. Don't mind it. I'll take the talent and try to cash in for multiple touchdowns. All right. Core plays, last two, number 3 and number 4. We're going dumpster diving. Y'all know 2 of my favorite guys to talk about every week. Caleb Douglas. We went here last week. We got rewarded with 7 catches, 114 yards on his way to 14.9 points. He hadn't scored a touchdown in that game. He's only scored 1 touchdown on the season. I think that all it's going to take is him start scoring touchdowns, and he's in the mid 7Ks easily. So he's far too cheap. He's a guy that I'm going to want on most teams. I'm going to lean heavily into the Caleb Douglas stuff. Now, y'all know I'm going here. 5,900. Chase Soul playing very well. Had 9 targets last week in a game that he missed the entire first quarter. It says worth noting that he did briefly leave the game. He missed the first quarter. He left after the first play of the game. So he's heating up. I want to play him back-to-back weeks, 14, 16. I think a 20-point game's coming very soon. I want to play him. He's a guy that I would love to lock in. That way I could pay up for these more expensive guys in the rest of my lineup. So I love that as a pairing. I love this as a base, and then let's build around it. You know, that's where I'm kind of wanting to lean into. Now, I do not want to play Soul and Sama together. Let's just clarify that right out the gate. I do not want to play Soul and Sama together. Just not going to do it. I will in like game stacks, but you better have Caden Salter if you're going to do it. Just fair warning. So outside of those guys, let's go to the GPP plays this week. The guys that I think are going to come in under-owned that can win you a tournament. Dallas Wilson came in first game of the season against Texas. Got 7 targets, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, gave this offense a verticality that it lacked for the first month of the season. This kid's a stud. If he could do that against Texas A&M, he can do far more. I think you should be able to take shots on this kid. Don't mind it at all. I think he comes in under-owned because they're going to say, well, that was kind of fluky because it's one game. I think you do see there's other guys that should get ownership in this range. It's worth buying in, taking a shot here or there on Dallas Wilson in this one. Next GPP option. These guys are not going to be optimal plays, but they're going to be guys that can break a slate if things go their way. I'm going to put Jacoby Lane in that category. So the numbers haven't quite been there. We haven't seen a multi-touchdown game. We saw him last year. I think he's not going to have volume. You got to go into this thing knowing that Jacoby Lane will not get volume. But if he gets you 4 or 5 catches, 3 of them could easily go for touchdowns. He's just such a freak on the outside. At 7K, we're not getting the full extent of his touchdown upside that he has. I remember that Purdue game, I believe it was. He was in the 9s. And so, yeah, we went Mekhi Lemon for the reason. But from a GPP option standpoint, I don't think people are going to be on Lane this week. And I think there is always a live chance for him to have 3 for 60 and 2 touchdowns. You know, he's just such a threat in the red zone. All right, last GPP option. This is just buying fully into the talent of the player and not the situation. Cam Coleman is a freak. Yes, he destroyed me against A&M. Just absolutely nuked my bankroll. I had the nuts that most of that week, and Cam Coleman killed me. So I'm going to take periodic shots. I'm not going to run to the bank with him here. I haven't seen the big game yet. I'm waiting for a 7 for 77 and 2 game. I think one's going to come eventually, but because the talent's there, I just need to see it. So, but I think you could take shots. I just prefer these would be my preference plays, but from a GPP aspect, those guys they're multi-touchdown capable players, all three of them. Rest of the guys in the pool, as far as like the main pool, we'll say. I think Mekhi Lemon always needs to be in your pool. Just going to get peppered with targets. Can the touchdown stay there is the question. You know, we've seen a 30, a 30, and a 35 basically out of him in 3 of the 5 games this season. If you're playing Jaden Maeva, you really got to play Mekhi Lemon. I think you can play Lane and Lemon, but Lemon is just absurd right now. Mario Craver, I would keep in the pool. I prefer him slightly to Concepcion. There's a rushing capability. He's just so explosive. He looks great. I think you can play some Mario Craver. I probably prefer him to Concepcion, but both should be interesting. I just don't want to play Marcel Reed whatsoever. Jeremy Bernard, always got to be in the pool. Just such a good floor by comparison. He's a very similar play to like a Justice Haynes, where you kind of know what you're going to get for the most part. You like the safety aspect of it. It's just the question of, can he get you that multi-TD game that some of the other guys can, that maybe he can't. All right. Rest of the pool, guys in it. Deuce Robinson, I think, is going to be a good play this week. He has the potential to be the skeleton key in this one. If Pitt can manage to stop up the run. Now, the Pitt D-line rates very well, but they haven't faced anybody that was super good. And I've been kind of struggling with the Gavin Sawchuk thing and whether Florida State can be able to run the ball super effectively. I think they will be able to. And that's kind of because of West Virginia was able to run the football effectively on Pitt. So I expect Florida State to be able to run the football effectively on Pitt. And then from the pass standpoint, you're going to end up with Deuce Robinson matched up one-on-one to some extent. Once he breaks out of the coverage, they tend to run more of a quarters coverage, which is going to leave guys on an island when Deuce streaks down the sideline of the field. He should be able to outgun them there. It's just a matter of, can Castellanos put the ball on him? That's always a question that we're going to have to ask. DeCorian Moore, uber talented freshman wide receiver. We haven't quite seen the breakout game. He's been good, but he hasn't been great yet. I think the great game's coming. D'Angelo Pons has been banged up for Indiana. He's definitely their best cover corner. I don't know that he can hang with Moore anyway, and he kind of likes to stay on the outside more so. And while DeCorian's going to go more in the slot. So I would like to take a few shots here and there on DeCorian Moore, but that's going to be more based around getting some exposure with Dante Moore, definitely as the top option there. All right, moving on down. Emmanuel Henderson, he's definitely going to be my top bring back and my only bring back in those Texas Tech game stacks. He has explosive capability. Can he put it together and keep it together in this one? I don't know. If I want to bring it back, I think I'm going to do a couple maybe like 1 or 2 game stacks itself, and he will be in them. But otherwise, I'm probably just going to end up running the Texas Tech bunch out by itself and just saying that they blow out Kansas, because I think that's the most likely outcome in that one. Malachi Fields, always a good play on FanDuel. He is very apt to catch a long touchdown, which can pay it out pretty quickly. The price is getting up there, so I'm going to have limited exposure. I still think that 100 yards and 2 touchdowns is coming one week for him. Much prefer him to Jordan Faison on FanDuel. DK, much closer. But I think Malachi Fields, it's coming. I just don't know when. as I'm not even going to say what Charles Barkley would say, but if you've seen the clip, you would know what them boys are doing. So if you're going to play Caden Salter, you pair him with a Marion Miller. I don't love the play on its own right, but it does have legs. Manjack was very close to being a core play. He's getting a ton of targets. The price is very good at 6,400. If I'm playing Josh Hoover, I'm going to have a lot of Manjack paired with him. I definitely prefer Manjack over Jordan Dwyer. I'm going to avoid Dwyer. I'll play Manjack, and I will play a minimal amount of McAllister. McAllister's just far too expensive. I'd rather play Manjack just because McAllister paid out last week, but it was all based off of that late touchdown that he had to get to. I left out Kevin Coleman. Yeah, I have minimal interest here. So if I'm bringing back if I don't want to use Ahmad Hardy, I'm going to want to use Kevin Coleman. If I'm using his full game stacks, or if I want to play Pribula in the game stack, I'll play Kevin Coleman. He's more of a possession wide receiver, but he could eat up that defense potentially. Like, I do have minimal interest there. I probably need to get more of him on DK because there is a possibility that he catches 10 balls and goes bananas. I still like Colin Dixon at 6,400. I think they're going to throw the heck out of the football. You're talking 40-plus pass attempts probably for Luke Altmaier. How good is he with it? I don't know, but he has so much experience that it's difficult kind of get away from him. And yes, Hank Beaty's going to get a ton more of the target share, but Dixon's been the best outside option. You saw against Indiana, 4 for 86 and 1. I think 10 points is pretty much the floor here. And at 6,400, it's not really going to hurt you. And he does have some upside. He has minimal upside. Can he win you the slate? Probably not, but he's not going to maybe kill you and make you lose either necessarily. He could, but not necessarily. These guys can win you a slate, though. You get Douglas and Soul with a big game, they can win you a slate. Kenny Johnson's going to be my top target for Pitt. He's played really well last week with the freshman quarterback. The thing in this offense is it could be Kenny Johnson, it could be Raphael Williams, it could be anybody. So if you're taking shots, take very, very sporadic ones because that thing can get wonky. All right, from a value standpoint, I got 3 guys that I like in the dumpster. It's a big if, John Mateer plays, I'll have interest in Deion Burks. Only if he plays, though. I think Burks is uber talented. Yes, he has not performed great. I do not want any part of him with Michael Hawkins. But at 5,800, I have minimal interest if John Mateer plays. Now, the nice part is you got pivot options. So if you want to play Burks and you want to pivot because Mateer ends up getting announced out late, go to Colby Young. I got no problems going to Colby Young. Yes, he had a terrible game last week against Kentucky, but the touchdown equity's there. Playing Auburn, they probably need to rely slightly more on the pass game. I think we see something more in this 70-yard, and if he catches a touchdown, he pays out big. So I don't have any issues going to Colby Young as a pivot option in that 6:30 window if you got to get away from like a Deion Burks or somebody else. So you want to pivot, that's your guy. Good late option there. All right. Caden Lee, I don't know what to do with. So clearly it was his best game of the year last week. He started to get more involved. I probably take a shot or two on this one. I think you need to because the upside's through the roof. He's got 60 or more in each of the last 3. 5,600 is just a bargain basement price. I think you get here a little bit. I wouldn't go overboard with it, but I think you get here. And projection-wise, I think people are going to play more than they should of that because it can go wonky and wrong in a lot of ways. But I think it's in play. Last guy, I'm always going to be here. He's so weird to figure out, though. He's going to have a ton of target volume, but his ADOT, his average depth of target, is awful. He's a huge red zone threat for them. So he's a threat to score multiple touchdowns, but he's not going to get you 100 yards. Against Notre Dame, they're going to have to chuck it. So Justin Jolie, a.k.a. Justin Jolly, that I like to call him, I would expect he gets a ton of targets, maybe double-digit targets. But the question is, can he catch touchdowns? And he's going to need touchdowns in order to pay this off really well. I'm probably in, but I don't want to be super in, if that makes some sense. So I'm in a little bit. I'm probably going to end up near. I don't want to play. I'm not playing 50 teams this week. I can tell you that right now. Normally, I love teams and I want to just get so much of those pairings, but I get the feeling this week has it's got written all over it that I just want to play about. I want to play like a certain amount of teams and that's it, like a limited run here. So yeah, I like that. That's going to be a team that I play. No doubt about it. I'll play that. That's good. Good enough for me, for sure. Then it's very easy to go. Let's see. What else would I want? I mean, you can legit get Jeremiah Love in these teams. No problem whatsoever. You could go Keywan Lacey. Let's see. Let's see what Ahmad Hardy looks like here. What I was hoping for is I could do Ahmad Hardy and I'm not playing Harrison Wallace. Ahmad Hardy and this, which you can, sadly. Here's how you do it. You go Justin Jolie in this soul spot right here. You can make that work as well. You get that Bama bring back in there. Yeah, there's so many ways to make this work. Shoot, you can even go a lot of ways because you could go down to Sama, then you would have 1,400 more. What does that get you? I can't get 11 too, huh? Nah, you can't get this. You can't get there. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, there's tons of ways to play this. I'm gonna have a lot of like that would be my base for most teams. For me, and then let's see. Let's have some fun. What if I did that? Can I do? I don't want to play Rocco in this. Let's go. Let's go Avery Johnson. Let's go. I mean, at that point, you could go Bo Jackson, then you'd have like 86, which I don't like that range of player. But let's just say you go 88. I mean, then you still got 75. You could go even bigger. No doubt about it. You can get into the nines or even the tens. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely get in the tens because you got wide receiver options down there for sure. You go 5,600, Caden Lee. You still have plenty. So yeah, there's tons and tons and tons of way you can go. Like that's Ole Miss onslaught territory right there. But anyway, all right. I am going to start working through building this stuff. So I can get that done. I'm trying to finish up my DK stuff. I've kind of built my low end stuff, but my high end stuff, I've only got one built and maybe two. I still got to decide my quarterback pairings for the midseason mini. And then DK or Fanduel, I'm going to work through those lineups. Like I said, I think Chambliss is a lock, or not a lock, but like a guy that I want more than 50% of my teams. I think Douglas, I'm going to like a good bit. And Haynes and Chambliss is going to be like the starter, the starter pack, we'll say. I'm just going to start with those two and then go from there. And then try to figure out how I want to piece together the Bayrons, the Avery Johnsons, the Dante Moores, the Castellanos, Rocco, Jaden Maeva, Salter, any of the guys after that I want to kind of fit together is going to all follow with Chambliss, but I want the rushing upside first and foremost. So anyway, I will be back tomorrow with Live Before Lock. We'll be breaking down some injury news. There's a ton to watch from an injury standpoint. We got Carson Hansen, question marks. We got the Virginia Tech guy, Terrion Stewart. John Mateer news. Check on Eric McAllister in case anything weird's going on there. We got Sam Jackson for Oklahoma State. Is he playing quarterback? Sounds like Connor Weigman's going to play, which also makes a difference. So now I'm more interested in playing a Houston stack against Oklahoma State. So it's just like we're all over the place right now. I want to keep an eye on Jeremiah Love, make sure he's good to go. So it's yeah. We're all over the place right now. Like I said, very uncomfortable. I can't believe that I'm going to say that Michigan State might be my favorite stack of the week. That's just disgusting on DK. But FanDuel wise, I think you're going to want a lot of Texas Tech pieces. I would fully avoid South Carolina LSU. That game's going to be ugly and disgusting. I'd avoid Oklahoma Texas. That game's disgusting. Yeah, I think just stick to your big guns on this slate and go for the points. Get you some Ole Miss. We know Lane's going to run it up. I think Ole Miss is going to be getting that game right. Is going to be a key to winning this thing. So. And watch the games tonight. Rutgers, Washington, and then South Florida, Texas. I'll be honest, that's probably the two of the best like fantasy games of the weekend. The two best fantasy games of the weekend. If either one of those games was on this slate, I'd be playing the crap out of that game. That's gonna be a fabulous one. So if you're playing that slate, here I'll drop that in. Let me see. I'm gonna pull that up, because that game's fun, and there is two ways to play this. So I'll drop it in. Where the heck is that team? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Hang on, let me share this tab. Sorry, FanDuel people. You're getting some DK stuff real quick. So I think there's two ways to play this slate. This slate's awesome, by the way. I actually like this one. Hate the Saturday slate. Absolutely love this one, though. Because you get this ignore this game for the most part. There is South Florida, North Texas. Awesome game. Huge over-under. Rutgers, Washington. Awesome game. Big over-under there. And Rutgers just hemorrhages points, but they score them in bunches. I think there's two ways to play this thing. Number one, you got to play Byron Brown. I mean, my boy, Byron Brown. Got to play him. He runs the ball too much. They're starting running back. Cortavius Norton's out. Once again, apologize for not realizing that when I made my original video. And Ruben's been playing the number 3 spot. I think there's a choice to be made there between Madu Ruben and Christian Neptune. One of those two is going to play a lot in the slot. I'm going to lean Ruben. He's been playing a little bit more lately, so that's kind of where I want to go with that. I like Nimrod as a pairing with Brown. He's been operating as the clear number 1 since week 2. So I would lean that way. I love the double stack with Byron Brown. I love Miles Coleman. I don't think anybody's going to end up playing Miles Coleman. Hasn't had 100 yards yet this year. Hasn't scored a touchdown. I think this is the week it happens. South Florida's run defense is decent, has done pretty good against other teams. Pass defense, not so much. I think Coleman ends up eating in this one. I think he's the key to winning this slate, in my opinion. I'm not getting off of him no matter what. I'm not. That is my flag plant. I'm standing on business with that one. DeMond Williams and Jonah Coleman, I want to play together. I think the run game is going to come out of those two. I like Antoine Raymond now that they're giving him all the work for Rutgers, and I like the Rutgers pass options. KJ Duff, particularly good option. This is one way to play this. I like this. The other way that I'm workshopping is to go off of that and say, okay, I think Washington beats the absolute snot out of Rutgers. And I think South Florida, North Texas blows up. I don't hate going Rashawn Luke. He has big play upside. He can house one at any point in time. I've been on him a little bit in these other games. I don't love that I have to go there. I don't hate I think Sam Franklin's going to end up being the starter here, but I don't want to play that. I just, man, it's hard to ignore the volume here. He scored 2 touchdowns in each of the last 4 games. Like, this is hard to get away from. So that's why I'm leaning this direction. The only other way that I'm going the other direction is this. And then I want Denzel Boston. The only reason I'm even considering this is so that I can get Denzel Boston. If I didn't want Denzel Boston, I wouldn't even try to do it. It's just, man, I want Denzel Boston. Like, that's the hard part. That's the one tricky part to me is I want Denzel Boston. So that's kind of what I'm struggling with right there. So I don't know. And I also think you could go Wyatt Young over Ruben. I just prefer Ruben personally. This is what I'm struggling with though. Like, do I want to go with the triple of Williams, Boston, Coleman, who I think are just absolute monsters? And Boston can easily give you a 30-point game. No doubt about it. Coleman's a lock. He's just too good. But you're giving up the floor of Luke. Like, getting Raymond for Luke is a big adjustment. Going from Nimrod to Singleton doesn't hurt me that much. I think Singleton has the same upside. I just think Nimrod's played way better. So, like, Nimrod's played very good. He's taken more shots. He would have had bigger games in here if he hadn't dropped some stupid balls. He has hands issues. But, like, the ceiling's much better on Nimrod. And then Duff that much worse of a play when they're going to have to chuck it? Duff's floor ceiling combination is right there with Boston. So that's why I think I would prefer to stick with the original lineup, because I think the ceiling off of the I've got enough pieces that I'm just very concentrating on those 2 games, and I don't have to worry about Rashawn Luke giving me just a stinker. So I think that Fresno Colorado State game is just awful. So anyway, that's kind of the way I'm building that. We'll be back tomorrow talking the slate. Maybe I'll make some decisions by then. But this is a weird one. I'd rather tell you I don't like this slate rather than giving you false sense of confidence. But like I said, Saturday slate, this one's a little weird. It's just a weird slate. Just have weird feelings. First time all year I haven't felt great. If I'm one time in 7 weeks, I think you'll forgive me for the fact that I'm not exactly certain on this one. But yeah. So anyway, I will see you guys in the morning, and we will try to solve the puzzle. Maybe the